All right, we went 4-1 in our 5 premium sports picks on BrockPage.com yesterday. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at BrockPage.com. We're 6-1 in our last 7 underdog tier package picks on BrockPage.com. And if you want to unlock today's underdog tier package pick, it's only going to cost you just $4.99. Now, we finished the month of November with over 1,035 members who were signed up and active on that site. And if you find yourself really enjoying this video here today, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and join the Brock Page family. I'd love to connect with you on a daily basis. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and begin. The Nuggets take on the Magic, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Denver's -8, totals 207.5. And despite a terrible display of basketball here recently by the Nuggets, Denver's still holding their opponents to just 103 points per contest, playing some really good defense this season. The Nuggets are also in the top 10 in fewest fourth quarter points allowed. Now, scoring-wise, Nikola Jokic is averaging over 26 points a game, 13 rebounds, 6 assists for the Joker. He's also drilling nearly 42% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Will Barton's averaging over 16 points a night himself, along with 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Denver's in the top 5 in offensive field goal percentage on the road. They're taking on an Orlando squad who's gotten the W in just 1 out of 9 home games. As a matter of fact, the Magic's currently on a 7-game losing streak, and they also lost their last 10 straight against the Nuggets. Orlando score fewer points per contest at home than any other team in the association. They're averaging just 94 points per contest at the Amway Center. The Magic's also shooting just 39% from the field at home as well. That's dead last in the league in that category. Now, injury-wise, Moore and Carter Williams, they're out. Anthony is questionable. Meanwhile, for Denver, Green is listed as questionable for them. When it comes to the total in this one, Denver's last 5 straight all got over the number. 7-1 to the over in their last 8. Meanwhile, the Magic went 60% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Denver. I'm going to lean toward the Nuggets -8, over 207.5. Next matchup, Timberwolves, Wizards, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Washington's -3.5, totals 215. Now, the Wizards have been excellent at home this year. 7-2 straight up at the Capital One Arena, 78% against the number in those home games. The Wizards have done a superb job in rebounding the basketball. They're in the top 5 in home defensive rebounding, top 3 in home offensive rebounding as well. And speaking of offense, Bradley Beal scoring 22 points a game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Montrezl Harrell is scoring 16 points a night himself, along with 8 rebounds, couple assists. The Wizards are in the top 10 in home offensive three-point percentage. They're taking on a Minnesota club who gives up a lot of points on the road. As a matter of fact, the T-Wolves are in the bottom 5 in points allowed per contest when traveling. Minnesota's also in the bottom 10 in road defensive rebounding. Beverly's still out for Minnesota. Vanderbilt, Edwards, and McDaniels are questionable. Meanwhile, for the Wizards on the other side of things, Bryant and Hachimura, they're both still out for them. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Washington's last 4 got over the line. Meanwhile, the T-Wolves went 4-2 to the over in their last 6. They're also 9-1 to the over in their last 10 meetings with Washington. I'm going to lean toward the Washington Wizards -3.5, over 215. Next ball game, Hawks, Pacers, 7 o'clock Eastern start time. Indiana's -1, totals 217.5. And speaking of the total in this one, the Pacers saw 3 out of their last 4 ball games get over the posted number. They also went 70% to the over in their last 10 meetings with Atlanta. And speaking of the Hawks, they went 3-1 to the over in their last 4 themselves. Atlanta currently finds themselves 6-5 to the over when traveling this year. And when it comes to selecting a winner in this one, this game's being featured as my board member tier package pick on BrockPage.com. And just remember, guys, board members get access to every single premium pick that I post on that website all the way through the end of December. Guys, that's equivalent to just $1.62 a day if you paid the $49.99 today. So once again, guys, if you want to see whether I'm leaning toward the slight underdog on the road here today, or if I like the home favorite, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my board member tier package pick on BrockPage.com. But as far as making a free pick is concerned on this game here, I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the over 217.5 in that contest. Next ball game, it is going to be Cavaliers versus the Heat, 7:30 East. Miami's -7, totals 204.5. But despite being favored in this one, the Heat's done a pretty poor job covering the point spread here recently. They're just 1-4 against the spread in their last 5. And they may have to go to work here tonight without a couple of key guys. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are both listed as questionable for today's contest. But wait, there's more. Hero and Dedmon, they're also listed as questionable for today's game as well. And as good as these guys are defensively, they do still rank in the bottom 10 in guarding the 3 ball at home. Meanwhile, offensively on the other end of the court, Miami's in the bottom 5 in second quarter scoring at home. So as good as they've been, there's still a few problem areas for Miami backers in this one. Now they're taking on a Cleveland squad who won their last 2 straight. And they also went 8-2 ATS in their last 10. The Cavaliers are one of the best covering teams in the NBA. They're covering in 80% of their road games this year, 16-5 against the number overall for the entire season. Darius Garland's dropping over 18.5 points a game, 2 rebounds, 7 assists for Garland. Meanwhile, Jared Allen is scoring over 16 points a game himself, along with 11 boards. The Cavs allowed just 103 points per contest when traveling, and they're in the top 10 in defending the 3 ball. Now, injury-wise, Osman and Wade are out for Cleveland. When it comes to the total in this one, 3 out of Cleveland's last 5 got over the line, throwing out the Dallas game. The Cavs also saw 8 out of their last 10 meetings with Miami fly over the posted total as well. Meanwhile, the Heat went 3-0 to the over in their last 3 themselves, 70% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward Cleveland +7, over 204.5. Next game, Sixers, Celtics, 7:30 Eastern tip-off. Boston's -3.5, totals 210. But despite being the favorite in this one, the Celtics dropped 2 out of their last 3. They may have to go to work without Jaylen Brown and Dennis Schroeder. Both players are listed as questionable for tonight's action. The Celtics have a losing record against the spread at the Garden, and they've struggled somewhat defensively in Beantown. The Celtics are in the bottom 10 in points allowed per contest at home. They're also in the bottom 10 in home defensive field goal percentage as well. They're taking on a Sixers team who has a winning record on the road this year, and they successfully covered the point spread in 64% of their contests away from home as well. The Sixers are shooting the ball really well. They're in the top 10 in offensive field goal percentage on the road. Joel Embiid scoring 22 points a game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists for the big man. JoJo is also drilling 41% of his three-pointers. Meanwhile, Tobias Harris is dropping 20 a night himself, 8 rebounds, 3 assists for Toby. The Sixers have covered in 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Boston. When it comes to the total in this one, the Sixers saw 5 out of their last 9 get over the line, throwing out the Orlando contest. Meanwhile, Boston's 5-4 to the over on their home court. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia +3.5, over 210. Next matchup, Rockets Thunder, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. OKC's -2.5, totals 214. Despite their recent struggles, OKC's actually been really good against the number here recently. They're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 ball games, 7-3 against the spread overall at home this year as well. OKC currently leads the NBA in offensive rebounding. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring over 20 points a night, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Lou Dort is scoring over 16.5 points a game himself, along with 4 rebounds. Now defensively, OKC's in the top 10 in defensive field goal percentage. They're taking on a Houston club who hasn't won a game on the road yet. The Rockets are currently 0-11 straight up when traveling, and they're averaging only 100 points per contest in those road games. The Rockets are currently dead last in shooting from the stripe away from home. They're also making just 30% of their three-pointers on the road trips. Now, injury-wise, DJ Augustin is out for the Rockets. Favors and Williams are out for OKC. Mike Muscala has also been listed as questionable for the Thunder. Now, total-wise, OKC's last 2 straight fell under the total. 14-6 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Rockets saw 7 out of their last 11 road games fall under the line themselves. Houston's officially 65% to the under for the entire year. I'm going to lean toward OKC minus 2.5, under 214. Next ball game, Hornets versus the Bucks. 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Milwaukee's minus 8.5, totals 231. The Bucks are on a 7-game winning streak, 4-0 against the number in their last 4 straight. The Bucks lead the NBA in defending the 3-ball at home. They're also first in the league in defensive field goal percentage at home as well. Milwaukee's allowing just 102 points a game at the Fiserv Forum. And when it comes to the scoring, Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging 27 points a game, 11 boards, 5 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Chris Middleton scoring 16 points a game himself, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for Chris. The Bucks lead the NBA in offensive rebounding at home. They're taking on a Charlotte team who allows more points per contest on the road than any other team in basketball. The Hornets are allowing their opponents to make nearly 49% of their field goals against them when traveling. Charlotte's also dead last in the association in defensive rebounding. Now, injury-wise, Plumlee and Martin are out. Meanwhile, for Milwaukee, Ojale and Lopez are out for them. When it comes to the number in this one, 5 out of Milwaukee's last 8 contests fell under the posted total. The Bucks are officially 90% to the under on their home court this year. Meanwhile, the Hornets went 60% to the under in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee minus 8.5, under 231. Next ball game, it is going to be Mavericks versus the Pelicans, 8 o'clock East. Dallas is minus 2.5, totals 216. The Mavs have really struggled here recently. They lost their last 2 straight and went just 1-5 straight up in their last 6. The Mavs have a losing record on the road, and they're averaging only 100 points a game when traveling. Dallas is officially in the bottom 3 in the NBA in road offensive field goal percentage. They're taking on a Pelicans team who won 3 out of their last 4 themselves, and they're also covering 60% of their ball games at the Smoothie King Center. The Pelicans have done a fairly good job rebounding the basketball. They're currently in the top 10 in defensive rebounding, top 10 in home offensive rebounding as well. Brandon Ingram scoring 21 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, Jonas Valanciunas is scoring nearly 20 points a game himself, 12 boards, couple assists for the big man. And even though he doesn't shoot them a whole lot, Jonas Valanciunas is drilling 52% of his three-pointers. Now, injury-wise, Williamson and Holmes are still out for the Pels. Meanwhile, for the Mavs, Ntilikina and Cauley Stein are out. Kristaps Porzingis has also been downgraded to questionable for Dallas. Now, total-wise, the Mavs are 60% to the under on the road this season, 12-7 to the under for the entire year. Meanwhile, the Pels are 60% to the under at the Smoothie King Center themselves, 15-8 to the under for the entire year as well. I'm going to lean toward New Orleans plus 2.5, under 216. And with that, guys, now it's time for our next and final matchup. It is going to be Kings versus the Clippers. 10:30 Eastern start time. The Clippers are -7.5, totals 219. Despite their recent struggles, the Clippers are still winning 60% of their contests at the Staples Center. The Clippers have also done a real nice job on the defensive end of the court. They're in the top 5 in defensive field goal percentage at home, top 3 in guarding the 3-ball at home as well. The Clippers give up just 102 points per contest in Los Angeles. They're also holding their opponents to just 30% shooting from beyond the arc in front of their home fans. Now, scoring-wise, Paul George is averaging over 25.5 points per contest, 7 rebounds, 5 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Reggie Jackson scoring 17 points a game himself, 3 rebounds, 3 assists for Reg. The Clippers are in the top 10 in second quarter scoring. They're taking on a Sacramento team who lost 7 out of their last 10. And they successfully covered the point spread in just 30% of those contests I just mentioned. The Kings have a losing record on the road, and they've really played poorly on the defensive end of the court this year. They're in the bottom 3 in points allowed per contest, bottom 3 in defensive rebounding on the road. Injury-wise, Barnes, Harkless, and Bagley, they're all questionable for tonight's game. Meanwhile, for the Clippers, Preston's been ruled out. Now, total-wise, 2 out of the Clippers' last 3 fell under the number, 6 and 3 to the under in their last 9. Meanwhile, the Kings saw 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Los Angeles fall under the total themselves. I'm going to lean toward the LA Clippers -7.5, under 219. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are 6-1 in our last 7 underdog tier package picks. I like Denver -8 over 207.5. Washington -3.5 over 215. I'm also leaning toward the over 217.5 in the Atlanta-Indiana game. I like Cleveland +7 over 204 and a hook. Philadelphia +3.5 over 210. OKC -2.5 under 214. Milwaukee -8.5 under 231. New Orleans Pelicans +2.5 under 216. Before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are 6-1 in our last 7 underdog tier package picks. On brockpage.com, I like the Clippers -7.5 under 219. And with that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to Tim Rogers, who said earlier this morning, great picks yesterday. I hit for $200 off of $10. Of course, Tim, that's what we like to hear. I like that a lot. Hey, when you guys make money, that puts a smile on my face like this. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. Now, guys, it is a Max Value Wednesday. What I mean by that is, brockpage.com, we utilize the Patreon platform. It's a subscriber-based platform. So the way Patreon does their billing is they bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So guys, if you end up getting a membership here today on brockpage.com, you're going to get access to that content all the way through the end of December, all the way through the end of the year. Once again, they bill you the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you sign up today, you're not going to get billed again until January 1st of 2022. Like I said, it's a Max Value Wednesday. And guys, if you think about getting that board member tier, not only do you get access to every single pick, every single post that I publish on that website, guys, I mean, you're going to get access to all those picks every single day, all the way through the end of December. If I did the math correctly, that works out, if you sign up today, on this day, it works out to be like $1.62 a day. I mean, it's certainly great value, and you're going to get anywhere between 5 to 6 picks per day. So it's a great value. I strongly advise you to at least consider it. Throw another resource in your arsenal. I always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Wednesday to you. Happy hump day to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.